welcome to another episode of Cars and Crowns. Today, we're thrilled to be filming from Baton Rouge at VEX European, formerly Vinnie's Exotics. Vinnie Carollo is the proprietor, whose specialty is performance, modification, and maintenance of European's finest luxury automotive brands. Thank you for joining us on this episode. We'll get to know Vinnie, find out about his business, see where it all started, and see where it's headed. Vinnie, thank you so much for being on the podcast. We've known each other for a number of years. I'll just give the audience a little bit of historical context because they don't know much about this part of me. I think we met when I had my GTR, and I think you did some exhaust work on it, which was the first modification. So I came to know about Vinnie, I guess, kind of through the grapevine. The car community on the North Shore and Baton Rouge kind of overlaps. We met then. And then you also did some work on one of the Audi R8s that I had. And I think we kind of like maybe did a little more extensive stuff then. So welcome to the podcast. We're really thrilled that you're here. You want to just kind of walk us through who you are, and we'll get to where we are, but how did this happen and where did you start?
Sure. Thanks for having me on. This is pretty exciting. So who am I? I'm basically I'm a mechanic. But I just work on really cool stuff. My background was with Porsche. I was with Porsche for 10 years. After that, I went out on my own to open up a store called Vinnie's Exotics. I think that's when you and I met when I'd first opened the store as well.
At a different location.
Different location, yeah. I am in my, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is technically our fourth location, with no plans
you keep growing, huh?
Yeah, because I keep growing, with no plans to move any further locations, but we do have plans to open more. So we are in our 11th year, so this will be 21 years now, professionally working on high-end cars.
So how did the Porsche, like you finished high school and you decided then, hey, I'm going to go specifically to Porsche, or was it just to work on cars, or was it something totally different?
It's totally different. I guess kind of a little the same, maybe. So during high school is when I started kind of tinkering with cars, I'll call it, working on parents' cars, doing oil changes, working on buddies' cars, installing exhaust systems and doing things like that in high school. And then right after high school, I had my first automotive job. I worked for... It was at the time called Rapid Oil Change. It's still there. It's at Take 5 on just on the service road off the interstate in Causeway. That was my first automotive
in New Orleans.
In New Orleans, Metairie. So I worked there, and that is kind of how it evolved into Porsche. So I worked there, and my manager's roommate showed up one day, and I should backtrack. So while I was working there, I bought my first car on my own. It was a 2000 Honda Civic Si, which I still have, and it's right outside this door.
Oh, very nice.
Yep, and one day it'll be restored to its former glory.
Of course.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And I just bought it, maybe a week prior. My service manager's roommate shows up in a 1983 faded paint mint green 944. And I had never seen one before. And I fell in love with it. I was like, what is this? And he was like, oh, it's a Porsche. This is a Porsche? I had no idea. Everybody knows a 911. Had no idea what it was. And fell in love with it. Spent a lot of weekends hanging out with my buddy Rodney, and that was his car, Rodney. And that's really where I decided at that point, this is year 2000, I need to get one of these. Well, it took about 4 years.
Yep.
So 4 years later, I bought one finally, about a mile from that same place I worked. It was on Causeway.
You were still working at the...
No, I had where did I leave? I was working at a warehouse.
Okay.
Nothing on...
Sure.
Yeah, so 4 years after high school, I'm at a kind of a crossroads in my life, Got a son. My son Landon's born, and what do I want to do? I mean, I know I'm destined for better. Working at a warehouse, making good money, but really like working on cars, playing music quite a bit, and... had some money. I said, I want to go finally get that 944. Still had my Civic, obviously. I buy a 944. I drive it for probably 2 weeks. It's a 944. And if you're familiar with those, they like to be in the shop with the mechanic. So I had to work on it, and I couldn't fix it. And I had an overheating problem. I didn't know what was wrong with it. My dad's out front at our house. Still living at home. And he goes, "Why don't you go to school, learn how to work on these?" And I went.
So you had never really thought about the mechanic space?
Did not.
Okay.
Had not at all until my dad put that seed in my head.
Are you were you problem solving at the oil change place?
Not necessarily. So we had a mechanic on staff, and I would be in his back pocket just kind of learning and looking. But we didn't really do anything.
Sure.
And I didn't really mess with the mechanical side. I was specifically just the oil changer and top side, bottom side, things like that.
So you decide then, your dad's like, hey, and so from that point, you went off to a different state to learn the trade?
Yep.
Where was that?
North Carolina.
Is that one of the premier, like one of the well-known or known?
It is. It's pretty well known. So, yeah, he put that seed in my head. I signed up for school a week later. And so fast forward 6 months, now we're in 2006. Living in New Orleans in 2006 was kind of weird. June, I leave for school for North Carolina. It's in Mooresville, North Carolina. It's Universal Technical Institute, or UTI. You've probably seen the commercials. There's other schools out there, Wyotech, things of that nature. But the reason I went to that one is twofold. I looked up who had a Porsche program, and they were the only ones who offered a Porsche program.
Does Porsche in North America have either now or back then, can you learn their trade through the company?
Through the company, yes, absolutely. Outside the company, that is still a yes, but it's different.
Okay.
All right. I can explain on that a little bit too.
But so you go off to North Carolina?
Go off to North Carolina. There was another campus in Houston, but I wanted to go somewhere a little bit different and a little cooler climate. So
sure.
I leave June or July of 2006, and then August Katrina happens. So back up just a little bit. I had a job waiting for me at Porsche New Orleans when I got out of school.
Right.
I'd interviewed with him. I talked to the then service manager. I talked to a technician because I was making a big life change here to leave and go off to school for 2 years.
Wait, 05, right?
So 05
Katrina.
is I'm sorry, yeah, 05. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. So 05, June, July of 05.
Sure.
That's when it happened. Yep. So 05, I interview at Porsche New Orleans, and June 05, July 05, I leave.
Okay, so right before Katrina.
Right before, 2 months before Katrina is when I left.
So you're in North Carolina. You're not quite sure what's going to happen. How long is the program?
The program was 18 months. So there was a general automotive side of it I did. And then there was a Ford, if you will, graduate class I did, which taught me a lot. Ford does pretty good at training their technicians, which was my experience anyway.
So is the typical path, once you complete this program, you come back and work for a manufacturer? Is that kind of...
So this is the cool part about it. So I looked up schools that specifically had Porsche, and this is one of them, but they also hosted BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen, Toyota. So they're called manufacturer-specific programs. So once you graduate through their program, you can get accepted into one of the manufacturer ones.
I got it.
Guess which one was the hardest one to get into?
Porsche.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guess how many out of 1,600 in that campus they took?
Oh, wow.
2.
No kidding.
At that time, that's what I was told. Week 1, oh, you want to go to Porsche? Good luck. I went, maybe this is a bad idea. So I studied and studied and studied. And I was not the greatest student in grade school, high school, and all that. But this stuff I understood. 4.0, didn't miss a minute of class. Graduated, went to the Porsche class that I was going to go to was 4 months away from when I graduated.
Okay.
So since my job was no longer in New Orleans,
right. Sure.
I called up here at Baton Rouge, and this is kind of a funny story.
Well, there was a huge population shift. I mean, Katrina was so impactful on a lot of fronts, but as far as Baton Rouge became the most populated city in the state.
It did. It definitely did. A lot of people in my neighborhood that I moved into when I bought a house here, everybody was from Chalmette, and that's where I was from.
Right.
I was like, wow, okay, so everybody just moved here.
So you're about to talk about the funny story.
So while I'm in school, Katrina happens. My job no longer down there. I cold call the dealer here, Brian Harris. I talked to Kenny Westmoreland and on the phone, and he basically on the spot says, when you graduate, call me, you got a job. I'm like,
wow,
thank God.
That's great.
Okay, good. The funny part is I call up 2 months before I graduate just to kind of touch base with them so I can speak to service manager. And a different person answers.
Oh, right.
And I went, hi, I'm supposed to be starting work for you in about 2 months.
Sure.
And his name's Troy Lusto, still a good buddy of mine to this day. He says, who are you? I was like, well, let me tell you about myself.
Sure.
So we go through the whole gauntlet. He's like, I don't need any Porsche techs. I need an Audi guy. And I'm like, well, I didn't really want to work on Audi. So I was like, okay, well, I got to take what I can get.
So your plan was to come back to Louisiana.
Plan was to come back to Louisiana. I was offered jobs to stay in North Carolina.
Yeah.
I was working at a dealer, which was a very rare thing. In Mooresville, North Carolina, when there's a technical college with 1,600 students at any time, the automotive jobs are gone.
Yeah.
You're not getting an automotive job.
Sure.
I was very fortunate to work a block away from the school at a Mazda dealer.
Okay.
So I was just lucky, just very lucky.
So ultimately, you wind up at where in Baton Rouge?
Here in Brian Harris.
So they found something for you, or did you have to take the Audi job?
2 weeks before I started, the technician who was working here at Porsche decided he wanted to go back to Houston.
Oh, okay.
So a spot opened up.
Sure.
So I've been very fortunate in a lot
Sounds
of
like
things.
it. We've touched on this before about like luck in life. I've been affected favorably by it. In fact, as a result of Katrina, the worst thing imaginable turns into a fortuitous, changing your life kind of sequence of events. But yeah, it's interesting. I think, anybody who's been successful, yourself included, that just seems to be part of one's trajectory, and seems like, things lined up. You got over at Brian Harris. How long were you there for?
Just shy of 7 years.
Okay. So how did that evolution, you started off like as hey, I'm the new guy, or did they bring you in as hey, look, he trained on Porsche, he's going to be kind of the go-to? How did that happen?
Well, if you recall, a minute ago I said I got accepted into the Porsche training, and it was about 4 months away.
Oh, so you hadn't done that before?
I hadn't done it.
Okay, got it.
I hadn't done it yet. So I had graduated regular
Sure.
automotive college, and then since there was a gap before the next session started, 4 months, started work. I mean, I got to get to work. I've been in school for a year and a half, almost 2 years. I got to go. So while I'm here, within like the first 2 months, they were like, you don't need to go to that training program. I'm like, what do you mean? We're going to send you to something else. We're going to send you what's called, at the time, I don't know if they still do it now, it's called TurboTrack, where technicians in the field will go for 1 week every month for, I think it was like 13 months at the time. So once a week, every month for almost a year, I got sent to Atlanta to the training facility, which is the same facility at the time where they did the student session that I would have been in. So there's guys at the other end of the building who came out of the technical institutes who were over there learning student curriculum. I'm over here in the technician in the field. And again, when you just mentioned luck. I'm lucky I got that opportunity because I still have lifelong friends from those classes that I talk to this day.
Yeah.
So I'm in class with new people to Porsche, and then the guy next to me is, I've been with Porsche 38 years. A wealth of knowledge.
Oh, amazing.
Wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, like it kind of likens, just made me think about how there may be some similarity to the medical space. Like you were on the job in the field kind of as a student, as a secondary kind of role that you had. Your main thing was like, I got to get back to Baton Rouge and continue. But all of that led to your ability to acquire this information. And your daily stuff probably translated into hands-on capability while you were there for a week at a time, or as opposed to, I'm not saying this is the case, but, like periodically you may get the thing that you're talking about in class if you're a full-time student. But the reality is, like, after you go for a week, that exact same thing shows up 3 times in the dealership. And so it seemed like that fortuitous event also, worked in your favor.
That is exactly how it happened.
So you commuting or whatever, flying out a week every month, and in that, year-long period, you're in the same role at Brian Harris, or are you looking to move up and become like the head of the shop?
Of course. Yeah. So my goal was very clear from day one. I wanted to be the best technician on Porsche in town. That was my goal. I was very, I don't want to say cocky about it, but you knew after talking,
goal-driven.
I was very goal-driven at that. I voiced that a lot. I made mention of that a lot, and I still to this day. I wanted to be If you had a Porsche, the last person you need to bring it to after no one else could fix it was me. The career path that I had set out for myself early on was to become an FTM, or field technical manager. So my goal was to cut my teeth in the dealer, learn Porsche, get as good as I can, get my foot in the door on the corporate side, because the franchise side, the dealer side, is different from the corporate side. The field technical managers are on the corporate side. They're on the front desk helpline, so tech lines and things like that. So
where the techs are calling in to get
correct.
Okay, got
That's
it.
exactly right.
Sure.
So when you do you're a dealer technician, you've got a technical assistance helpline. Like, we've got a car in here, it's doing something odd. All the things that we would normally check aren't making sense. So your first step is to go to a tech line, and they're to assist you. Above that is the field technical manager, who is typically flying out and basically preventing cars from being buybacks, and the sort of last say-so before it goes into either arbitration or buyback situation.
So you would have been like in a regional positional, yes, and kind of overseeing. So technician, so to speak,
essentially,
or overseeing, yeah.
Instead of wearing gloves, you're wearing a suit, though.
Right. Okay. So you saw this corporate trajectory was where you wanted to be.
That's where I wanted to go. That was quite a long time in my career at Porsche.
So you're there for a year. You have this, you're making yourself known and appreciated, and the owner and the head of the shop are noticing your aspirations. And how long did you wind up staying at Brian Harris?
About almost shy of 7 years.
So in that 7-year period, did you kind of move up and become like in charge of?
No, I became, I guess, what you would call a diagnostician. So this is a common practice in automotive and dealerships. I'll give you a little bit behind the curtain. The really good technicians who get it are eventually going to have the hard problems. I'm sure it's the same way in your field, right? Unfortunately, the way technicians are typically paid, it's all commission based. The hard problems don't pay anything, but those are the ones that you're going, this guy's got to work on it, not this guy. So the guy who isn't as good, I shouldn't say as good, because there's plenty of great technicians out there. Yeah. But the one who's not going to get the hard problems has more an opportunity to make more money on lesser technical.
So they're almost de-incentivized.
Yes,
financially, right?
It is financially de-incentivized. You've got to be extremely goal-driven, and you can't have dollar signs in your mind if you want to go that trajectory.
So we don't have to get too far into
which was my experience.
Okay, got it. So we don't have to go into the weeds on this, but so essentially the bread and butter stuff pays the technicians better?
Oh, of course.
I don't know if our audience, or I certainly didn't know, so I thought perhaps like, maybe a base salary, an hourly rate or whatever, but like, is there some incentive to, like, how is that realized by the technician of doing bread and butter stuff? You get paid whatever you get paid plus extra for like doing X number of oil changes kind of thing? Is that how?
Yeah, essentially. And look, every shop and every dealer and everything's, so I can only speak to my experience and what I've known, genuinely in the field. So in my experience, it is, again, commission based. If the car is not in the stall, you're not making any money as a technician. So you're a 1, 2 year, 3 year technician in the field, and it's 1 o'clock, and you took care of your 2 appointments that day, and you don't have anything else to work on. So you're just sitting around, not making any money. But yes, what I guess what your question was, if something comes in, whatever that job may be, there's an essential time allocated for that job.
I got it. Okay, sure.
Now, we could go way in the weeds on it. I know you don't want to get into it, but that's essentially how it works.
Okay, got it. So you're there a number of years, you get to this professional space, and then you move to New Orleans, to the dealership there?
I didn't move houses. I commuted from Baton Rouge to New Orleans for just shy of 3 years.
Was that just for growth?
It was, at that point, I was, the writing on the wall financially after many, many years was not there. The smaller dealers do not have enough work really to go around. Sure. And if you add more technicians, then
and that seemed to be happening.
Watered it down even further.
Sure.
So it got to a point where the quantity of work and the amount of technicians we had was not balanced. And having gone through that a few times, I just essentially had enough.
Sure.
I stuck it out quite a bit. I had some, I definitely didn't want to leave. I enjoyed it. I was a lot closer to home.
Sure.
But I had an opportunity to go work for Porsche New Orleans.
Was it in a more senior capacity?
It was the same. It was the same. They had their senior players in place, which is fine. And
What years was that where you were in New Orleans?
this was 2012, 13, and nope, half of 2012, 2013, and all of 2014.
Okay. So
Because I opened up January 2nd, 2015.
Okay, your own place.
My own place.
So along this, 10-year span at Porsche,
Mm-hmm.
where in your headspace or where did this thing start itch of like, hey, I could do this on my own? Was that based on like encouragement from your family, or you're like, these guys know what they're doing? I can do it better.
A lot of encouragement from my customers.
Okay.
A lot of them were entrepreneurs and business owners.
Nice.
Whatever they saw in me is what I now see in other people. They're people I talk to often, and I'm like, you need to own your own business.
So how would that, just so maybe our audience can get, because this is actually an interesting, so I'm a Porsche guy, and I'm like, hey, Vinny, look, my 911's doing this, and this. When am I having that conversation with you about you going out on your own? How does that come up?
So I made it a point to get to know my clients. I made it a point to learn all aspects of the dealership early on. I wanted to know parts. I wanted to know the warranty processing. I wanted to know the service writing, the sales, the management side of things, the reports that they went through. So a lot of my time, a good bit of my time in the first 7 or so years was spent up front as the cars were being checked in. I'm ready. What we got? Hey, how you doing?
Nice.
Mr. Pramod, you coming in? What you got going on with your car? And I'm so invested into the Porsche world and lifestyle because I love it. We're talking about what you want to do to your car. I know it's here for an oil change, but there's people like, I'm thinking about putting an exhaust, or what do you think about this, or what's the next car I'm going to get, and what are you seeing on the Cayenne the new one that just came out. So those conversations evolved to where to most of the people just walk straight to the back and talk to me. Most of those clients are still my clients to this day.
That's fantastic.
Still my clients to this day. Yep.
So you get some encouragement, and how does one make that leap as a pretty well-respected, very efficient, knowledgeable Porsche technician, expert to, hey, I'm going to go hang my shingle?
Much like the same way that a lot of very successful companies start, by getting fired.
I wasn't expecting you to say that. What happened?
I made it known that I was going to be leaving. I made it known to my then service manager that I was considering going to open my own shop. I had an opportunity to get my foot in the door and start at a very, very low budget, almost nothing, and get going.
Did you have backing?
No. Yes, I made a $10,000 high interest, very high interest loan to buy a lift, a transmission jack, and an oil bucket.
So you very bare bones,
Yes.
but you figured out like this is what I need.
Yeah.
Is the plan then to do all manufacturers, or are you sticking with Porsche?
I had enough clientele base that I could start with Porsche, and then at the time, we didn't talk about this, but I started becoming not only the guy in town to work on Porsches, but hey, there's a guy who works on Lamborghinis and Ferraris at the Porsche dealer.
So you were doing that as well.
At the Porsche dealer, I was working on all the other exotic brands at the Porsche dealer.
So both
I started taking them in.
locations, or
Both locations.
So you started that like very early in your career at Brian Harris.
Yeah, probably about 2 years after I started at Brian Harris. One of our good Porsche customers came in. He just bought a 2004 or 5 Gallardo. Needed a clutch. Asked me if I'd be willing to do it because I'm always up there talking to him. So absolutely, I'll do it.
Without getting, again, too far. So how did that sit with the Porsche dealership?
Oh, they loved it because it was just more money for them.
Ah, interesting. Right. So they weren't concerned about...
Oh, yeah, they were concerned about risks and things like
Right.
that. But there's
like
no
you-
different risk as if you take your car and you go trade it in a Porsche and it gets run through the shop to make sure it's up to
okay,
snuff.
that makes sense.
So
Sure.
no insurance risk was not any different. I mean, I did have the... Are you sure you can do this?
From the
Management.
management? Okay, got it.
Yeah.
What did you use to problem solve on those cars? Was it the Porsche equipment, or did you have to...
No. So this was actually kind of funny as well. So very early on, I have a good enough knowledge about automobiles and how they work in the theory and operation of all the parts on it to where it didn't matter what came in, I was taking care of it. Thankfully, the internet gave me enough literature out there, and I come to find out later on that I could have gotten the OEM stuff, but this was very early on when I started, so I didn't know. But the internet gave me enough to get me, okay, where is this component located on the car so I don't have to tear everything down.
Sure.
Once I get to that component, then I can test and find out. But the main tool that was not the Porsche tool or the tool I had a little small code reader is what I used to diagnose exotic cars.
Wow, impressive.
A very small little handheld code reader
that we just came to know about, or
no? It's just I needed one. Just
I got it
because most people, including your audience, don't know this, but to use the OEM software that the dealers have, when you by the time you plug it into the car, hit go and go through all the functions to just scan a car and check for faults in it, you could be there 20 minutes, sometimes longer. So I have a little code reader. I'll just check the fault real quick, and if it's not a warranty car, I don't need to use the OEM ones.
I see.
So okay. I bought this small little code reader, and that's what I used for 5 or 6 years.
So this is kind of getting put in your ear, and then Porsche New Orleans said, "Hey, look, we're hearing that you want to go out on your own. We have to let you go."
No, not hearing. I told them.
Okay.
So this is third or fourth quarter of 2014. I told them my plans. Basically, look, can you guys give me till about March? I'm not quitting on you right now. I'm going to go open a store. I'm going to put a lift in. I'm going to just start doing some stuff out in Baton Rouge. And they were fine. That was fine. So it's like November and then December. Well, they got to replace me at some point. Well, if they've got a stall that I know this guy's leaving, and here's a Porsche tech that is looking for a job, and we're going to hire him, I can't tell this guy who wants to come in, well, you got to wait 3 more months for this guy to leave. Sure. So they were like, look, we got to let you go now. Kind of one of those. There was no harm, no foul. I didn't, it wasn't a big deal. But it was something I had in my head for quite a long time. I didn't have the nerves to do it. And much like everybody who starts a business, you really needed a shove. And a reason I can say just genuinely I was fired because I needed that shove. Once I had that shove off that cliff, that was it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think, for people who are entrepreneurial in spirit, who've gone through that, you're absolutely right. Oftentimes the falling off the cliff without a landing zone is the motivation that's necessary.
Yep.
And the reality, too, of, I'm sure you had probably planned a little bit ahead, but maybe you hadn't. And it's like, well, I have to do this because everything depends on it. Mm-hmm. So you had a place, took out the high interest loan, put the lift in, the transmission software. Do you remember who your first client was?
Yep. Her name is Naomi Rodney. She brought me a white 2012 Audi A4, and I did one job on it. I can't remember what it was. She's still a client to this day.
That's great. I'm sure she's very happy that she's decided to stay with you.
I give her a hug every time I see her.
That's wonderful.
She's such a wonderful person.
So you're in Baton Rouge, and what is your referral source? Is it just word of mouth?
Thankfully for social media and things of that nature, a lot of word of mouth. I called every customer in my phone that and if you recall, I used to do a lot of exotic car rallies and things like that.
You did, actually. That may have been where we met.
Probably so.
Yeah.
So I did a bunch of those. Again, those having lunch with a lot of successful people who saw something in me and they're like, you should be out on your own. You should be out on your own. So I called everybody I knew, told them I was opening up. My customer number one was a referral from the then porter at Porsche out here. And that was a friend of his, and she needed some work on a car. I said, go see my friend Vinnie. He just opened up. So she was customer number one, day one. And I remember it very vividly. I made, at the time I was like, oh my God, what am I to do? So I had applications in all kinds of places. I was even talking to Porsche back here about going back.
Got it.
And I said, well, let me see what happens. Day one, I made $200. I was like, okay, I can stay open for day two. Day two, I made about $400. Okay, I can stay open for day 3 and 4. And those few days, I made a couple more $100, and it just snowballed and snowballed and snowballed.
That's a remarkable story.
Yep.
So who was in the shop with you then?
So I was in a buddy of mine, Andrew's shop. So he had a detail company, and we were good friends. And he's like, "Look, man, just put your lift up in here, dude, and just start." And obviously he had a vested interest because a lot of his clients are my clients, and so on and so forth. So it would be really nice if I work on the car and he would detail it right after, and it worked great for a while. I outgrew the shop so quickly.
And what about on your in your staff in your company? Was it just you?
It was just me learning the ropes. And again, if you remember a few minutes ago, I tried to learn everything I could on the parts side, on the accounting side, on the service writing side, all of that. So I had to make a lot of phone calls, stay up late nights, like everybody does when you're building something like this, and basically just put the work in. I learned how to read a P&L. That was interesting. I had no idea what a P&L was. When somebody said, "Well, what was your P&L look like?" And it was like 6 months after. I was like, "What's P&L?" So I was doing QuickBooks. It was there. I just didn't know about it.
Sure.
Once I found it, I went, "Wow!"
So you're front officing it, answering the phones,
ordering parts, receiving parts, delivering cars if I needed to, getting them washed if I needed to, or if the guys were busy, working on the car, picking up parts.
So this is year 2000.
This is from January of 2015 to about May, June 2015.
Okay, so about 6 months.
About 6 months.
And then did you outgrow the space at that point?
I outgrew it after a month. I outgrew it.
Okay, nice.
So 6 months later, a shop or a suite opened up directly next door in the next door building from where I was. So I didn't have to go very far at all.
Okay.
And at the time, I'm like, I don't know if I don't know. I needed a shove. I don't know if I can do this. And my girlfriend, who's now my wife at the time, was like, we can do this.
Did she come to work for you?
That was when she started.
Oh, nice.
When she started. She had moved to Baton Rouge and started living with me. And
did she work in like a similar capacity somewhere else?
I would say similar, yes.
Okay.
She was in the print industry for many years, and she managed a print shop. It's time and materials.
Yeah, right.
It's time and materials. Mm-hmm. So she had a very good understanding of that, accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, taxes, things of that nature. So I owe every step along the way that we've grown, owe greatly to Amanda. And I mean, I would still be, or this whole project would still be 5 years behind what it is right now.
Wow.
Definitely.
What a testament.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fantastic.
I know this.
Yeah.
And, this is, she took care of the front end of everything. She's very likable. Customers love her.
Yeah.
We were a mom and pop, your quintessential mom and pop store.
Sure. So she comes on board, and like, when did you start getting so busy that you had to hire more like technicians?
Very quickly. So at the end of year one, so we're 12 months now, 13 months now into the store. She's with me about 6 months now, 5 months, something like that. Another suite opened up, and I.
So this is now your third location?
So no, it's still the second, but this building had like 8 suites in it.
Got it. Okay.
I'm in suite 4. Mm-hmm. Suite 2 opened up, and I just needed parking. I needed a place to put the cars. I had so many cars. I had 4 parking spots outside. One of them was mine. And I could fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could fit 8 cars inside. So every day, 8 cars go in, 8 cars come out. Well, I've got 4 parking spots.
Yeah,
Why don't I put 8 cars? So doubled. The second location was 2 lifts. I went from 1 lift to 2 lifts to 2 lifts with another suite. And then when, if you recall, the 2016 flood happened, and that's when we moved into our third location, where we just moved out of about 2 years ago.
And the one we're in now, or the one next door, is location number 4?
This is location number 4, yes.
So what's the time frame from when you started, on your own to now?
January 2015 to around June.
Yeah.
Location 1. Location 2 was, let's call it June 2015 to now 2 months after the flood. When was the flood?
Like 16-ish something?
It was in 16.
Yeah.
Sorry. Day 1 of the third location was Halloween of 2016.
Okay, got it.
To give you a reference of time. Day 1 of the current location was January 2nd, first week of January 2024.
So about 2.5 years
We've
ago.
been here two and a
Yeah.
half, roughly 2.5 years.
That's a pretty remarkable growth period.
We've doubled each time.
So how many staff do you have now?
We have 12 staff, and then me and Amanda.
So from every iteration of what you might experience if you go to a manufacturer's service center, part of their dealership, you guys have, because I saw it on your website, you guys have like service advisors.
Oh yeah, so we've got Eleanor, who's our front of house staff. She's the first and last person you see. She's incredible. We have our parts manager, Jordan, who previously was a parts manager for Audi and Porsche as well. She knows the brands. She's incredible. We have 2 service writers. One of them was a previous tech. That's Sarah. She's cool.
She was an
CJ.
automotive technician?
She did. She was a tech for a little while.
Oh, interesting.
So it was a.
You don't see that very often, do you?
You see technician go to service advisor,
But like a
relatively
female
often.
technician?
No, not hardly at all. Yeah,
right.
very
Especially
rare.
in the high performance side,
Yeah.
maybe or maybe not. I could
Yeah.
be wrong, but
Yeah, so she came on board and she's knocking it out of the park. We have our newest service advisor, CJ, came from Toyota. He's been a service advisor for probably a decade now. Our previous service advisor is Kim. She is now my store manager. So I've got front of house, 2 service advisors, parts manager, store manager. We've got a regular porter, which is your typical. What I like to explain to porter is you do everything inside this shop but work on a car. You maintain the equipment, mop the floors, take out the trash, ferry cars, wash cars, anything and everything in a dealership or a shop. Technician-wise, we've got Josh Lowry, who's our master certified Jaguar Land Rover technician. I've got Jonathan Poe. He's a former shop foreman at Volkswagen. He did almost a decade at Volkswagen, and then he did Audi as well for many years before he came on board. We've got Dallas Hoover. He's kind of a jack of all trades. He just kind of whatever you put in front of him, he's going to work on. Jimmy Barrios, who came from Audi as well. He did, I want to say, 4 or 5 years with Audi. And he's kind of got this cut from the same cloth on the import stuff as I did from back in the day. So does Sarah, by the way. She is a car chick through and through. And then there's Dylan, who was our previous porter, and he has now stepped up to be an apprentice, and he is knocking it out the park. And then Philip Lawley, who's our Audi Master Certified guy. So I've got a lot of manufacturer certified guys in their shop right now on the German brands. And our porter, Davis, who just came on board just recently.
nice. So it's like 12, 13 people?
Got 12, and then Amanda and I, so 14
Wow,
total.
that's-
So the Christmas party is pretty wild.
I bet.
Yeah,
Sure.
It used to be dinner with a couple of us.
Yeah,
and
or
now
like
I've got to
maybe you
rent
looking
places.
in the mirror,
Yeah.
right? And now
Yes.
it's, that's
Yeah.
awesome, man. That's really fantastic.
The Christmas bonuses, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, right. Well, I have one well-deserved, and I'm sure you're thrilled to be in a place to be able to offer them even.
Yes,
and
we
grateful. and
we love doing it.
yeah,
We love
no,
doing it.
that's fantastic. So where do you see it going? Where do you think this will evolve?
Just going to keep going.
You have plans to expand?
Oh, do we had more plans to expand? I want to create a path for the people who are here to continue to serve our high-end automotive community. I like that we're all centralized in this location, but I think I've got some plans to kind of decentralize.
So walk us through a typical customer experience here. Let's just say that a check engine light comes on a 911.
Mm-hmm.
So they call, they're greeted by.
Eleanor.
Got it.
Typically, Eleanor is going to call, and you should do this just to. She's a wonderful person. When you call, you're going to go, that's what he's talking about.
Okay.
I know exactly what he's talking about now. When she picks up the phone,
Sure.
you're going to go, this is a place I want to go to.
So she checks it in or gets the information. The car arrives.
So we have some. I don't want to get too detailed about how we do things here on the public side, because we do things a little differently, and it's strategic. There's too many who are going to copy paste, and that's fine at the end of the day. But I'm not going to divulge it right up front.
Corporate secrets.
We worked hard to put our SOPs in place in what we do. So as a customer, when you call, I try to emulate what you would expect from a dealership to bring your nice car to, but then I've got to be 3 times as better.
Right.
No matter what.
Sure.
We aren't independent. We have a fancy building. We do. but I don't have a. This is my Gen 5 facility.
Yeah,
you
sure.
know, from your previous podcast. So this is our Gen 5 facility, and it's pretty remarkable what we've done with it. And it was all hands on deck to make it this way. So we try to emulate that dealer experience as best we can, but we want to make it more personal. You know, so there's some things that we do here that are completely different than you would experience in any other automotive shop, or maybe not.
Yeah,
maybe not. This is just what I feel and what my customers feedback on. So yeah, you'll call up for a check engine light, and whatever your expectation is, our job is to exceed it by a lot, and I hope we do.
I'm sure it is. Your reviews are all stellar, and but it's just testament to how quickly y'all have grown.
We've worked very hard for it. We, and anything bad is not for lack of trying. I tell you that.
Fair. Like, do you have a recollection of a terrible experience that you had with a car or with a particular, not even a particular customer, but just maybe the.
Yes. So the unfortunate part is when we talked about P&Ls. When you look at the P&L, what are you looking at? Where did we lose?
Yeah.
When the Patriots go or the Chiefs, they have a great game. They still look at where they went wrong, and that's what they focus on. They're not patting each other on the back about the plays they made. Like you missed that block.
Sure.
That's what they're doing.
So you guys are learning from those all the time.
We learn from those all the time. That's why I set up the training center here.
Right, which we'll get to.
Okay.
Real quick, as far as pricing goes,
Mm-hmm.
like an independent that's ordering OEM, how do you guys compete with a dealership that buys a larger quantity or has like a relationship with whomever it is that's supplying it?
I try not to compete on price. Our price, I just mentioned, I went down the gauntlet of what we do here and who we have on staff. I have factory trained technicians. We pay them very well to do a very high end and grueling job. It is a hard job working on cars, whether it's a Lamborghini or whatever. It's still physical demanding. So they're compensated well for it. So because of that, and that high level that we bring, we have all the latest software. We have factory tools. So when I log into Porsche, or I shouldn't say log in, but I have to log in my information and I access Porsche. So what the dealer technician has on his laptop is the same things I have on my laptop.
Got it.
And all that comes at a cost. So your typical independent can cut your cost down of ownership of your car, and we do to an extent, but we are by far not the cheapest in town.
Sure.
So what we compete on is value. I want to give you more value and more personable experience than a dealer.
Sure. What about like, are y'all able to negotiate though? Like, I didn't mean necessarily like what you guys charge, but like parts and things that the car needs. Like, does it cost you more to get a Porsche, whatever it is, something for the alternator?
Yes. If I have to go direct to manufacturers for OEM parts, yes.
Is there a network that you can participate in where you get a bulk?
There is, but depending on what you're working on, the amount of it probably doesn't. You're talking about tier levels. So the amount of stuff that we're ordering at a time doesn't take us up to that next tier.
Okay, sure.
So yeah, if I approach a company or a dealer or something like that, and I say I'm gonna buy $500,000 worth of parts from you per year if you give me a couple more points off, that way I can run my facility, and
Sure.
if I can negotiate those prices, then I can lower my upfront cost to my customer rather than just inflating my price because they've inflated theirs. You see it in the world today, everything's going up. So if it goes up, I have to go up.
Yeah.
Otherwise
Sure.
I become insolvent.
Right. Well, it seems like you've been able to manage that, and your customers are repeat, and they're paying for the service, like you said. Well, this has been great. I'm really glad that we were able to kind of get the nuts and bolts of how this started and where it is now. Why don't we take a walk around your shop?
Sure.
And you can show some of the cool cars that are in here.
Maybe we'll find a watch here or there.
Right. We'll get to that in a second as well. So, Vinnie, the McLaren Senna.
This client has a nice collection of cars. He's upwards of 20 cars at the moment, and he bought this one about a year ago. We serviced it when he first got it. It was due for service, and he likes loud engines and going fast. So apparently it wasn't loud enough and fast enough, so he wanted to go a little bit further. So what we did, everything's pretty much about 75% of the way complete right now as we're assembling. But we did the gold exhaust system from Novatec,
Nice.
from the entire muffler section all the way to the downpipes. And then you can't see them, unfortunately, but these are your air filter boxes here, and they go directly down through an inlet pipe, which is also gold plated, all the way into the turbocharger. The reason for the gold plating is McLaren themselves, on the heat shielding in the rear section, use a gold plated heat shields around it. So just to match it.
Nice.
So they come in stainless steel or the gold, but on this car, he thought the
I wonder
gold
if
looked good.
Novatec, I mean, I guess they must have done it on purpose, for this specific model, the gold plating because of the heat shield.
Maybe so. You can
interesting
get
that-
other exhaust systems. We've done another, one of his cars, a 765 LT, and we did the gold on that one as well.
Got it. So maybe just a coincidence. Have you seen Tavarish on YouTube?
I know of him, yeah.
Yeah, so he did it. It was I guess the P1. They must have rebuilt it. Or
Is that the one that got flooded?
something. He did two. He has one that flooded.
Yes.
But then like a father and son who have like their own shop somewhere.
Yeah.
I think they just posted the video of rebuilding theirs.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
But
cool.
This is almost as involved.
Yeah, it's
right.
quite a bit. I mean, the entire shop was filled with parts.
So I know most of your stuff is related to engine work, and this had the modification done. Where do you get comfortable on a car like this removing body panels? How does that get learned or mastered?
I don't think you quite master the nervousness. I mean, some people will say it's nuts and bolts, but at the end of the day, no, it's not. I mean, this carbon work on here. If you feel it, it's extremely thin.
Right,
Feel
exactly.
that right there.
I mean,
this
almost
is
paper thin.
It's paper thin.
Yeah.
And it gives you a false sense that it's sturdy in certain ways. So the last time it was in, I had to do an oil change. Well, oil filter's down there, so you got to put a blanket on it, and you got to lean over this stuff, and you just got to be very careful. So you master it by having a little bit of fear and not being careless, because you can easily damage these things.
So in your day-to-day operation, the regular stuff, not even regular, but like, hey, I got to do an oil change or troubleshoot on most of your cars is occurring at a different location, and
Yep.
you are here on a regular basis specifically working on things of this caliber?
I wish. I wear a lot of hats. It depends on what day of the week you catch me in. Sometimes I'm training. Sometimes I'm dealing with office staff. Not dealing with, I should say, but handling office staff and training on that aspect and going over all the things you could always imagine on the front house. On the back of the house, on the technical side, I'm assistant technicians. I'm all over the place.
So who would have done most of this stuff?
All the work was done by Philip Lawley so far. On this one, I did the first service when it came in last year, and most of the exotic stuff is going to be going to two technicians in my shop.
So they've gone through further iterations of training as it relates to multiple brands?
Yeah, so by default, a technician in this shop is going to be around these cars, and just because
In
you're
this
around here
location?
in this location.
Okay.
So yeah, so Philip was over here working on this car. His main stuff is next door. I wanted to put this one over here so we could work on it as we see fit.
Yeah, right, in an unencumbered way. and
Yes.
not- okay, got
No
it,
one's
yes,
disturbing us.
Yeah.
We want to keep it all separate. In the main shop, it's very busy. It's very high paced. There's a lot of
and
interactions
forth, sure.
and things like that. When something like this comes in, we want the attention span on it and it alone.
Of course. So you put the exhaust in.
Mm-hmm.
When do you expect the work is going to be completed?
A couple days. Yeah,
Okay.
we're there. Everything's been test fit. I'll let you know this as well as your viewers. I don't care what price you paid for an exhaust system, it doesn't fit perfect. None of them do. Every exhaust system that we put on does not fit perfectly true. So we have to test fit. So hopefully one time, but usually you got to test fit multiple times.
Do you have a preference? I mean, obviously the customer probably comes to you, maybe not on a car of this caliber, but standard 911, hey, what do you think? Do you have a preference in terms of aftermarket?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there for, say, 911s and things like that, and I haven't heard them all. YouTube's a good benefit because you can be unbiased, because you can hear it, I can hear it and like it, and you might not. So I want my customers to go experience what they want. I do have customers who are like, I just want something. What do you have on your car? Like, oh, I have this. Well, why'd you pick that? Well, I picked it because of nostalgia and lightweight and things of that nature. Is there a better sounding exhaust? Yeah, I actually heard an exhaust system on a car like mine, and I was like, I kind of like that one better. But it didn't fit for the scope of what I wanted on my car.
Sure. So are you, are you guys a distributor?
Oh yeah, we're dealers for Novatech. We're a dealer for Novatech, Akrapovic, FabSpeed, a bunch of Soul.
Okay,
you know.
Sure. And those are all manufactured. Actually, is Akrapovic international? I don't remember.
Akrapovic is they're in the Eastern Bloc.
Novatech is European, isn't it?
Novatech is down the street from Roof. So they're in Germany.
Yeah, okay. Because I see their videos on YouTube, and it's like they're driving in this like gorgeous farmland, wherever, like some private road that they can like open up their,
Yes. They apparently have much nicer roads than us here in Louisiana that we can drive
on. So, from the customer's perspective, like he's had multiple cars with you. Okay.
Yeah, he's had about 15 cars in the last 2 years.
Do you like working on McLarens?
Yes, absolutely.
From an ease of use, or from your end of it, do you find that particular company is ease of use, or
on the mechanic side? Yeah, you just got to. Every car company has their quirks. McLaren's not alone in that. There's just things that they do that for one company might not make sense, and for this company, it's like, okay, well, this is how we designed it. So because of my history and what I work on and all the different brands and makes and models, I can dodge the punches from what they do and what that car company does, and it's not a big deal to me.
How do you find the support, if there is any, from any of the manufacturers in terms of like very supportive? So if you had a problem, not necessarily with an aftermarket thing, but you were servicing a car that was under warranty, like, is corporate McLaren helpful?
So no, because I'm not a franchise. However, all of the documentation, workshop manuals, parts and everything, all that is available on the independent side. We are linked up with all of that. If I needed technical assistance over and above their workshop manuals and their troubleshooting procedures and things like that, as well as the software that's integrated on these cars, that is where their franchise dealerships.
So you would then say, hey, you need to bring it somewhere else?
Yeah. So if something goes to a certain extreme, we have a very transparent working relationship with our clients.
Okay.
If it goes above the, not necessarily the skill level, but the equipment level or the access to information level, then no problem. There are a lot of people out there who cannot swallow their pride. Check my ego at the door. I'll get you to a certain point, and after that, if it's got to go back to the dealer, again, not because of skill set, but because of accessibility, no problem.
Sure. Well, it's a gorgeous car.
It is. It's very cool.
We'd love to see it maybe in another video.
I wish I could start it for you right now.
Right, sure. It's all good. On the next time we will. So this is your dad's 911, huh?
This is my dad's. Yep. This is a very storied car.
Why don't you give us the
it's just your run-of-the-mill silver 2001 Porsche Carrera. I was working at Porsche Porsche in Baton Rouge here at Brian Harris, and for about 3 years. And my dad kept on me, if a cool car comes in at a cool price, let me know. And this one came in at the time. I think he paid $25,000 for it at the time in 2007-ish. And it was in great shape. The previous owner is a one-owner car before him.
It's a model year what?
2001.
Okay. Nice.
So it was about 6 years old, roughly. Came in. The gentleman who owned it previously had a garage at work that it parked in, and a garage at home. So it was never really in the sun. It was in great shape. Needed minor work, just rudimentary things. So he decided to trade it in and get the next model up, which was the 997. And so my dad wound up buying it. And my dad is kind of a car guy and wanted to do the nice wing and the wheels and the bumper and all that. So fast forward a few years, he had an engine failure. And this is why it's so storied, is because when his engine failed, I was also leaving Porsche Baton Rouge, going to Porsche New Orleans, driving back and forth an hour. But I never really got an opportunity to fix this car, and years and years and years went by. And I mean, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and just go, I've got to finish my dad's car.
Sure.
So anyway,
Is that the engine?
again, storied. That is, I restored it for him. I got to a point where the car was kind of disheveled. Everything I took apart. All the glass came out, all the body panels off. Marcus Tucson at Tucson Customs took it in, painted the entire car.
Local shop?
Local shop, yep. Shout out to Marcus, great guy. Did all the paint work, did the interior trim paint work, because this is like the factory. They offered that back in the day. Put it back together, and I said, Dad, let's just get it on the road. So I found a used motor, threw it in. Let's go down the road, get you driving. Well, that one failed.
Oh, wow.
So back to square one. So the plan was to take it for about a year. It lasted just shy of a year. And I knew I needed to do suspension work to it and everything, but the paint looked great. We redid the entire interior.
Yeah, I see that.
All the seats were redone, had the Porsche crest embossed in them. The light gray stitching, all the interior treatments is all done and brought back to life. We installed the red seat belts. And so now, I'll show you here in a little while, but I have this new engine, which is the original one to the car, which is now being bored out to a 3.7 liter. These came with a 3.4.
Okay.
And I'm making sort of a hybrid race engine, if you would say, more of a street high output engine.
So Porsche historically, I mean, I guess in the community, has this reputation of being very bulletproof. How do you find that measures up into reality?
As a mechanic, I see the bad all the time. But I can say it like this, as compared to other models, and I'm not going to beat up on those other models too bad. Sure. If you want the reliability, if you want to take a car out and beat the daylights out of it and not feel you're harming it, this is the way to go, and not a Porsche.
Interesting.
Yeah. Not to say they are without their issues. They are, especially on the early generations of the water-cooled engines and things of that nature. Everybody who's looking for one knows the things that go wrong with them. But there's fixes now for those things.
Do you have a preference in terms of what you find your customers like better, water or air-cooled? That came up on last week's episode.
No, the air-cooled guys. I mean, I think everybody's. Thankfully, Porsche has done such a great job with their water-cooled cars that even the hardcore purists of the air-cooleds will look at this. Even I've got some buddies still look at the new cars and go, all right, it's pretty cool. You know?
Yeah, right.
You know, it's like.
How about the engine evolution in terms of, like the history of the 911? Now they're going to those E-turbos on the GTS and the new 911 Turbo S. How has that complicated your life or not in terms of working on the mechanics of them?
Yeah, it's not complicating it. I mean, it is in a respect that it's more things being packed into the drive unit. But the technology, the information's available for me. I can learn it. I think it's great. I love it. I welcome it. I thought the hybrid stuff on the 911 was much needed. I mean, to keep up with the other vehicles, sort of in that kind of range.
I think that that's probably reached its peak.
I think so as well.
I think, Lamborghini's Temerario, it's like 970 horsepower, and that's like their base car. I just don't know, like, they're going to keep outdoing themselves or whatever. I think the community, like the consumers of this too, I think everyone's kind of realizing that like the power peak, the sweet spot's probably between like 450 and 600.
Oh, there's definitely a usability factor.
Every time you hit the gas on a 1,000 horsepower car, you're worried about who's behind you, whether you're going to go to jail and all that. And but I mean, the technology is like engineering amazing. I agree with you. I think I don't know where in the sequence, maybe the GTS, that E-Turbo or whatever variation is, they're like later to the game than the other companies are. Ferrari with the SF90. I don't know specifically. Was there
Yeah.
like an electric turbo on one of the other, or electric
It's
hybrid
it's
assist?
just a hybrid assist.
Yeah.
But the turbochargers themselves weren't electric. What Porsche did with the electric turbos is pretty phenomenal. That's I'm glad they did that.
On the Turbo S?
On the turbo itself. Sorry.
Okay, got it.
Like the
Okay.
physical
Sure,
turbocharger
okay.
also has electric. Yeah, that section of it's wild. I like that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, like I said, I think I don't think they'll turn down the horsepower. What do you think about the manual and coming back? Do you see that happening?
We see it lightly. I wish it was not as light because the manual cars, the prices are just kind of going up and up and up.
Of existing models that have manual
Of existing,
transmissions.
yeah,
right.
yeah. So, I mean, Ferrari doesn't make one, Lamborghini, you know, I think Porsche's the only one that's really
They
making
are.
one right now.
Well, good for them.
Yeah, in the T, they're making one in
Yeah.
the T. So for you and I, there's a want, you know, and Porsche recognizes that. They truly do. They know their clientele base wants the manual transmission. You know, I didn't get the manual, but I have reasons why I didn't get the manual transmission. But my next one will be manual, you know?
Have you thought of, or has it ever come up about retrofitting a transmission to
No.
a manual? Is that too, like, outside of the scope of what you would want
No,
to
it's
do?
it's inside the scope of what I would do. I just wouldn't do it on certain cars. The R8's a big one to do it on. Sure, go for it.
There's a guy who self-did it. He posted a YouTube video.
Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff around. The 360s and the 430s is a big one with that.
Yep.
Now, I absolutely say it on those because those first gen cars with those single clutch engagements were very unfavorable to drive.
Sure.
So just I could drive the car manual better than the car can drive itself in that automatic form. It's terrible.
Sure.
It just, you know, you got to drive it a certain way. It's not comfortable.
Sure.
Not that you're supposed to worry about comfort in a sports car. I get it, but you know, let's be real. You want to drive the car.
So
you want to be in it.
That's an interesting topic for me as well. You know, and it's probably from some degree of getting older. You mentioned about, you know, not being comfortable. You know, I kind of think that mindset is changing a little bit because people are realizing that these cars can perform at a phenomenal level and you can also be comfortable at the same time. I think manufacturers are doing themselves a service by making their suspensions more compliant.
Yes. So the Huracan is the perfect example. To me, the Huracan, you can drive daily. You can drive the car every single day. The worst part about daily driving one of those cars is probably getting gas. You're going to be there for 30 minutes, and which is fine because you know, it's enjoyable to see somebody come appreciate, you know, something they don't see very often. I love that. But if you drove it every day, I could see I'd get a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, sure.
But to your point, yes, they're making, you know, switchable suspension systems have been around for a long time. They still do switchable suspension, soft setting, hard setting, and so forth. But they've done better at it.
Agreed.
They've made the isolation points on the control arms a lot better. But they still can, you know, the engines now can be a little bit more free. And then when you hit the sport button, like in the Porsches, they lock up the engine mounts, so it's more aggressive.
Sure.
So they found ways, and now they've got the power to back it. So all those things you keep packing in this car, well, now it's slowing it down. No problem. We'll turn the boost up or the electric motor up.
Sure.
So there's that balance there. So,
Yeah.
But I agree with you. There's a lot of more comfort in driving some of the more modern, high-end and exotic cars lately.
Yeah. So the Carrera T, you want to walk us through your personal vehicle?
Yep. So
It's a beautiful spec.
thank you. So I bought this from Brian Harris, where I worked for 7 years. I specifically wanted a T. So for yourself and your audience, the T doesn't stand for turbo or Targo, which it gets confused with. It's just a model line. So way back in the day, in the old long hood era, the T was the base model. It was kind of stripped down, didn't have a whole lot of stuff in it, less horsepower. And from what I was told, which along my Porsche experience, you know, so day one at Porsche, I don't know everything, so you come to learn these things. So what I came to learn is that a lot of guys back in the day would buy the T, and they would soup up the motor, or they'd put the S engine in it, and they'd make it faster, and they'd go racing with those. And I thought that was cool. So the reason I wanted the T was for the same reason. I wanted the lighter weight, stripped down version of a 911, the driver's enthusiast car. You know, I want a Turbo S as well, but this is one I wanted at the time. So
So what's the specs on it? I don't remember with the T. With
So it's
400-ish horsepower?
I'm sorry?
400-ish?
It's shy of 400, so I think 379 or 389, something like that. I am a gearhead by heart, so yes, I've got an exhaust system on, an intake system on, and it is tuned.
Did you go with? Which exhaust?
Akrapovic.
Yeah.
So I went with that one for the titanium, I said before,
Sure,
for
lighter.
nostalgia. So back in the early days of my Porsche career, Akrapovic was like, whoa, it's got one of those. They were, to my knowledge, some of the first people doing titanium exhaust systems, which now there's people all over the place, don't use it, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I wanted it. So it's very lightweight. I have an example of one over there on a shelf I could show you. It's extremely lightweight, so I shed about 40 pounds, hopefully about 40 pounds, maybe about 30, off the rear axle. And it's got a good note. I've heard some that sound a little bit better, but they're heavier.
Any drone?
No, none at all.
Nice.
Not a single bit. So I did that.
Could you notice an improvement in the performance with just that?
You probably can. The butt dyno will probably get you a little bit more, but
Sure.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair.
But I also tuned it at the same time.
Did
so.
you do that yourself in-house?
Yeah.
So how do you handle most of the tuning for the 911 personally? Like,
So-
not for your personal, but like in your business. Do you custom?
It's all
mostly?
third party. It's all
Okay.
third party stuff. Some people will require it, and we have done it in the past, custom tuning. We don't do it in here in-house. Again, it's third party custom tuning. So I'll go to my buddies, my good friends at Pellegrini Performance. They've got a dyno. We'll put it on a dyno. The tuning companies will custom tune and tailor it to a specific vehicle. We did one last year on a 992 Turbo S, just shy of 900 horsepower,
Yeah,
or something like that.
insane. Sure.
So when we get into those levels, you want custom. I'm fine, and as always, there's different flavors for this.
Did you do a plug-in tune?
Yep, plug-in tune
Okay,
from
which company did you go with?
APR.
Oh,
It's
oh
the-
yeah,
yep.
right. Okay, sure.
I use them a lot.
They do Mercedes stuff too.
They do.
But maybe I'm thinking of AMR.
You might be. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. APR primarily did Audi. Then they went into Porsche. They do BMW with Dynon as well.
Sure.
I know they do a couple others, but anyway, mainly Audi and Porsche and Volkswagen.
So your custom tuning is done mostly at Pellegrini in Madisonville.
For the dyno work
got it.
as
Okay,
well.
sure.
So they'll
Yeah,
handle.
right.
They'll put it.
So
They'll
shout out to Pellegrini.
Absolutely. So they'll facilitate the dyno and running it, and then like we did with that Turbo S.
Got it.
M Engineering was the one actually tuning it. So we're sending them a file. This is what
see.
it did.
Right. Yeah.
They're doing whatever magic in the box that they
Yeah.
do, which I don't know they
Sure.
do. They know, and then they send it back. We put it in
Adjusting
the
fuel
car.
intake and
Doing all
turbo
kinds of
boost
stuff,
and all
yeah.
that stuff. So why did you go with the PDK?
All right, so so shout out to my wife on this one. I was going to go with the manual. And you sit down and you're checking all those boxes, and you're going, I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and that price is going like this. And you get down to it, and I check the 7-speed manual, and the wife goes, I thought we were getting automatic so I could drive it. And I went, yes, ma'am.
It's a good way to stay married. Right.
So I checked that box and that box and that box and that
Got
box,
it,
but
sure.
but to her defense, I was leaning more towards the PDK anyway. So the reason I wanted the T was not only for lightweight, but also I wanted it to be more track focused. Yes, I've only taken it on a track twice. It's not going to be a race car, but
Sure.
I wanted the ability to put it on track and have the best, set the best times and have faster lap times
Sure.
and things of that nature. The PDK was the way to go. Now that I have it, and now that I've put it on track, I want the PDK.
Okay.
100%
Sure.
want the PDK. Again, I mentioned a second ago, when I get another 911, and I'm not trading it in, I'll keep this one forever, just like I had my first car. I'll keep this forever, but my next 911, I'll get a manual. So I'll have the best of both worlds.
What do you think you'll get? What do you think you'll?
I kind of have my heart set right now on a 991 Targa
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Sure.
with a manual in it. I just, I think I want the Targa top.
That's a turbo engine as well, isn't it?
No, I want
is
the
it?
non-turbo. I want the
Okay,
NA.
got it. Okay.
You know, the turbo was the 17 to 19-ish.
Right. So that's a 9912 iteration. That's the
Correct.
turbo, right?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Very nice. A beautiful spec.
Thank you.
Really well maintained.
Yep.
Looks
yeah.
fantastic. I'm sure it drives like a dream.
It
I really like
really
the carbon
does.
roof.
Yeah.
It's a 944 on the rack, huh?
This is a 928.
Okay, got it.
So,
right, yeah.
So this is...
That's the car from Risky Business.
I was going to say, the best way you can tell a 944 and a 928 is either 16 candles or Risky Business.
Yep.
So this is Risky Business.
Yeah.
Not the same color, obviously.
That's where the it's so choice.
Yes.
When they're talking about his dad's car.
Yeah. So this one belongs to the gentleman who also owns the watches. And when we were talking about the watches, I mentioned he's liking his 80s cars right now. So,
right.
So this car was a corporate vehicle for a company out of Arizona. It's got about 16,000 miles and change on it. And when corporate affiliates or colleagues would come into town, this is the car they would take them out to dinner and a wine and dine back in the day. And for the last 15 or so years, it kind of just sat, didn't really do anything. So what we're doing to it is, this is the staple of this client. He's got a little collection. The bodywork is good. The interior is good. He's going to take it up a little level. I don't do that. Someone else does that. But he wants all the suspension and the engine, the entire drivetrain to run like it was brand new.
Oh, wow.
So what we did was we have brand new shocks, brand new springs, new brakes, all the control arms directly from Porsche. Every rubber isolator on it, all the control arm bushings and everything are going to be replaced. So this car should be essentially brand new for all the wear items. Those are wear and tear items.
Sure.
Obviously the hard parts, with the exception of shocks and springs, wear. It's just aggregate pieces. But the rubber bushings, the control arm bushings and things like that, they turn hard and the car doesn't feel as good.
How long of a job or work in progress is this?
Until it's done. It can take many hours. So we're going to be cleaning as we go. I'm starting on a left front corner right now. I'll do one corner at a time.
Sure.
Just so I don't have 5,000 parts laying around.
Makes sense.
It kind of keeps that causes time loss, obviously, because I can knock it all out at once a little faster. But again, everything's nice and tidy and clean. We redid the brakes as well. So here's all our new parts for it.
Oh, wow.
These is factory shocks. And then I took the calipers. I had them sent off to P&B Performance. Shout out to them as well. I sent all my calipers to them. They completely take them apart. Pistons come out, and they're painted like the factory does.
Beautiful.
And then they machined it as well.
They're local?
Utah.
Oh, wow. How did you come to know about them?
A buddy of mine, his father and the guy who owns it, I think they went to high school together.
Okay.
And they're in various magazines and stuff like that. So if you see P&B Performance.
Are they specific to Porsche?
Mainly, yeah.
Okay.
So, but they'll do anything. I've sent them Ferrari. I have a set of AMG brakes that are being shipped out to them right now for a brand new G-Wagon.
Oh, nice.
So we did, the AMG G-Wagons don't come with ceramic brakes. My client with the Senna wants ceramic brakes on it. So we ordered the ceramic kit. They come with the calipers. We're sending the calipers off to be color matched to the car.
Very cool.
Yep.
And then we have a Lamborghini under the mount, rack.
Yep. This has been in Louisiana for quite a long time. Back in the day when I did my exotic car rallies, this car was out there with its previous owners, a 2-owner car.
Okay.
It was a doctor out in New Orleans owned it. And this is a Superleggera. So it looks like the base, if there is such a thing on it. It looks like the normal Gallardo because the very first generation of the Superleggera had this front end on it, and then they went to that angular style on the Superleggera. So I think it was a 1 year they did this. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong on that.
What is it, a V?
It's a V10. It's the original Lambo 5-liter V10. Which
is it
to
a manual
me,
transmission?
This one is the E-gear.
Okay.
Is the E-gear, and that's what it's here for. We're basically rebuilding the whole E-gear system.
Okay.
Doesn't need a clutch.
Sure.
Everybody thinks that if you have one of these, you got to put a clutch in every 5,000 miles. You don't. I don't care what the YouTubers say. There's ways to drive it, and there's ways to extend the life of the clutches. This one, I believe, is 25,000 miles on it. Same clutch.
So was this before? I think it was before the VW Lambo.
This was this is the inherent, I should say, Lambo motor. And then they had the, if you want to, the crossbreeding of the brands. It went to the 5.2 liter.
Right, V10, huh?
V10, that was more
essentially
R8 derived.
The Huracan and the R8 are essentially the same.
It's all the
engine.
same platform, yes.
Yeah, right. I thought that car was really great. And
amazing cars.
How do you feel as though either brand has done since the merger? Better before or better after?
Better after, for sure. Better after. I've worked on a number of Murcielagos, Diablos, and the Italians weren't the greatest at engineering, I should say. The Germans came along and, and have created better stuff for it. So it's been better. It's been better.
That's great. And then there's an F12 in the corner. Huh?
Yeah, we keep the F12s in the corner.
Yeah, right. Huh?
Yeah.
What a beautiful
so this
car.
one is here mainly for mainly essentially service work. We did what we call a major service. So we with our shop, we basically, if it's in the maintenance manual, that's all we do. There's when we go above and we sell you this part and that crazy fluid or whatever. If it's in the manual, we do what's in the manual. So this one was due for all of it. It was a 7-year service or something like that. I forget. But we've got some things taken apart because now it's going to go to our friend Alan Biragov, and he's going to be doing a wrap on it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Same color? Or?
No, it's just going to be a matte, so like a satin finish or stealth finish, I think they call it. So it'll go from the gloss to the Rosso Corsa to the matte finish.
So not necessarily brand specific, but I just want to maybe inform our audience.
Mm-hmm.
For those that have cars of certain manufacturers who are under warranty but decide to come and have their car serviced for annual stuff here or check engine light stuff here, can you walk our audience through how that may or may not impact the warranty from the manufacturer?
Yes, it's a great question. It's a question I get a lot of. Automotive manufacturers cannot void your warranty if an independent works on it. They cannot. It is against the law. It's in the Magnuson-Moss Act. Federal Trade Commission really polices that. If you as a consumer or owner of a car felt that you were being bullied even into, I have to come here, you could even ask the Federal Trade Commission and they'll send out a letter. You gotta stop, So I think it's just customer not knowing that information. So hopefully that informs a lot of the audience.
Sure.
But also misinformed people who work at dealerships as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you would think that that's how it's going to be. If you buy this car here, you have to service it here. You can't take it to Vinnie. Well, no, you can. You can absolutely do that. But the person who's at the dealer doesn't quite know all the stuff that I know. So it's just misinformation. But yeah, we can take care of anything. Now, if something that an independent does or a part that they put on a car does cause a problem, then yes, that particular repair won't be under warranty. So that is true. But for me, doing your regular routine service I have many under warranty cars. Some within with a dealership within a couple blocks who service with me rather than taking it to the dealer.
Sure.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I guess like all these, not even horror stories, but you hear and read about, and what are they going to ultimately wind up saying caused the potential issue?
They are judge, jury, executioner at the end of the day. They hold all the cards, and the car comes in here. All they have to say is something. So yes, to that effect, yes.
Do you find that one particular manufacturer versus another is more forgiving?
Yeah. I'll say the most unforgiving is going to be those.
That probably won't surprise our audience.
No, not at all. It's to be expected. But to Ferrari's defense, they give you a 7-year warranty. They pick your car up. So I won't see a new Ferrari. I do see new Ferraris, but I typically won't see a new Ferrari.
Maybe closer to the end of the...
Closer to the end of it, yeah.
Sure.
And it's fine. Look, hey, if you take it to the dealer, it's fine. I've got
plenty
other
of
stuff to work on. It's no big deal. Call me if you need me. That's what I tell people. Just call me if you need me.
What's been the longest this type of project that you've worked on? How many months of time? Right, okay, fair, right? Several years now.
Many years. Sorry, Dad. But project-wise, actually working on it, like time spent, shoot.
Maybe a track, focus, this or that, or was it just for performance modification?
No, I can't really think of something that would be kind of off the wall that would kind of... a week or two of actual work time on something's not,
Sure.
that's kind of the length. I mean, a car will be in a shop longer than that, obviously, but the actual work time, maybe a week or two. We do have a couple projects coming up that are going to be, I have a 430 that we're going to be doing that's going to be, actual work time is going to be 2 to 3 weeks.
So do you find that any particular brand that their consumers are more avidly looking to modify versus, do you feel as a Porsche, most guys or most Porsche clients are at some point going to make some changes to the car versus, AMG or versus
I would say
Audi?
pretty much all the McLarens I work on have some aftermarket performance.
That's surprising,
work. Yeah.
actually.
Well, it's a low number already.
Okay.
And you buy the car for performance, and the last thing a McLaren guy wants to do is to have another car blow his doors off. So,
Really? You think more than another brand?
I don't know if it's more than another brand, but if I can think of all the cars that I work on that I do a lot of performance mods on, most all of the McLarens have something
That's
done
pretty
to them.
funny. I wouldn't have
Whether it's
expected
just
that.
an exhaust, just to make it sound, because admittedly, they don't sound like they look.
Right.
Which is one of the
I
reasons
would
we're
agree
doing
with that.
this.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's a lot of cars right now.
Yeah.
SF90 is one of them.
Yeah.
SF90, you start it up and it's like a little purring kitten.
That's
Whoa.
because of all those emission standards.
Correct.
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 And I think it's really handcuffed manufacturers and stuff like that.
It has, and then not only emission standards, but decibel level standards and things of that
Right.
nature
Yeah,
as well.
actually, I think in Europe now, you can get fined if like somehow some roving camera that's stationary picks up the sound levels.
Yeah, it doesn't
That's
surprise me.
insane.
It doesn't
what's
surprise me.
It takes all the fun out or whatever.
It does, but
Yeah.
that's the reason probably why most of the McLarens I work on.
Sure. Can you walk us through this engine?
Sure, yeah. So I mentioned earlier my dad's engine I was building. This is his here. This one has been re-sleeved and with nickel sill liners. These initially came with just a regular open block casting. What we've done is just made them bigger pistons. We're going more power, and then also that nickel sill line we put in here. This was done by Hartech in
Locally?
the UK.
Okay.
So they've done the machine work here. There is an American distributor as well in Oklahoma who basically is branched out from Hartech UK. And that's who you get your parts from now.
So when you
great
said
company.
Hartech, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it.
When you said Hartech, so you sent the whole block to them?
This, yes. So this one, you can send it sort of you can see here. This is a used block from a 911.
Okay.
And basically that's how you'll send it to them. And when and obviously it splits in half because it's a split case. And they do machining work. They get rid of the cylinder bores in there, and then they install these liners. And then they also give the pistons to match. So those are the other three going in on this side.
I got it.
Yep.
Nice.
So this is going to be in my dad's car, and kind of a mild race engine. It's not going to be too crazy. Going up from 3.4 liters to 3.7. Don't know the horsepower increase. Well,
Sure.
Time will tell. But yeah.
So this is out because it's obviously being worked on. What kind of like classroom education do you typically do for your staff with something like this, or even around the table?
So in something like this, for one, whoever's interested, and most of my guys are interested in this, and I've got two guys who are almost at a point where their knowledge base, they can do this. The head section that they're well versed on, the guys I got doing it, everything out the timing sections and things like that. It's once you get into the bottom end is where things start getting, there's some tricks of the trade. But it's nothing difficult. So in this one, whoever's really interested, even if it's a guy who's not going to do it and wants to come learn how this is put together, because oftentimes I'll be over here putting it together, the guys will come get a car and they'll be like, what you doing? And then it'll be, here we go, it's training time, let me show you about it, just like we're talking now. I won't do official training on this. Things like this are few and far between. This is my dad's engine. The next engine that I'm doing down there is for me. So I do have a customer who wants to take his 997 and build it up to a 4-liter. Just waiting for him to give me the phone call.
Sure.
So he's interested in doing that. So as soon as that happens, that'll be the next one.
That's great, though. I mean, it must be wildly informative for your staff.
It is, because
for your techs.
Breaks the monotony.
Oh yeah,
Because I mean,
absolutely.
it's tires.
Hands on too. It's not just like looking at something on the television.
Yes.
right?
Yes, exactly. So, and that's a good segue into what we're doing over here. So, before we moved into this building, I was doing quite a bit of training. So either every 2 weeks or once a month.
For you or your
For
staff?
staff.
Okay.
For staff. Around 2021, we started doing things a lot differently in the shop. I kind of revamped how we did everything. And we'd probably do maybe an hour to 2 hours of training, either every 2 weeks or once a month. I'd provide lunch, lock the doors, phones off, and we'd sit around and I'd just whiteboard training. And it could be anything. It could be technical training, customer service training, standard processes training. How do we need to do things? But a lot of the training comes down to the why. It's always the why. All right, we're going to do things this way. And instead of telling you guys, all right, this is how we're going to do it, I'm going to tell you why, because I need them to believe in that. Everybody's got to have a belief that this system is operating for a reason. So this new venture over here afforded me opportunity to set up in a classroom, like its own classroom. I'll take you over here. So it's very minimal. Okay, this isn't a college professor up at the front and some big auditorium. This is all we need. I bring lunch in. We have lunch. I've either got training videos or technical training videos or staff training videos. I'll sit at the front with my laptop, have open discussions. I want them to give me feedback. Hey, I don't think this is going to work because of X. Okay, let's pivot. Let's do it a little bit differently. What do you think is the best for our customers at the end of the day? Technical training side, the reason why I like what we're going to be doing here is we're going to do a little technical training out here, but we're also going to go work on the car that we're technically training on in the lab, I should say.
No, that's great.
So that's what I did when I went to college. We had classroom and then we had lab, and we had cars out there that we had to go diagnose or test and things like that. So when we get a car coming in for especially new product training, we get a car that comes in and we had to diagnose something that's technically under the new product. Car's been out 3 years, let's say, still potentially under still warranty. In order to get everybody on the same page with the new stuff coming out, I could have the car in the shop and whatever we're testing on it, how we tested it, why it did what it did, and we could also learn it in here.
No, that's fantastic. I'm sure it offers also your staff who are troubleshooting on their own that may not have known that somebody else had the same thing happen 6 months ago, whatever.
Yep.
Medicine's very similar. It's a constant evolution, especially with information coming out.
Yes. I'm sure you call your doctor colleagues all the time,
often.
hey, have you seen this
sure.
before kind of deal. So.
And in training, this is a routine every morning. It was called Morning Report, and essentially the night's problems, and kind of go over. I think this is phenomenal.
It is very
probably
similar.
not happening at a lot of independents. Testament to you,
Hopefully it is.
Staff.
Hopefully it is because it's
sure.
I'm trying to impart everything I have in here, and I'm admittedly I'm a terrible trainer. I'm doing my best, but I'm trying to impart everything I have and all my skills onto someone who doesn't have that particular skill or that knowledge. So, but to your comment, we have a meeting every morning. We're here at 7:30.
Yeah,
every morning.
Right. Kind of go over
we go over where we're at status-wise with customer vehicles, ETAs on parts when they're coming in, and then that's a good opportunity in a public, private public forum for the technicians to meet with the service advisor. Here's my game plan for today after I do this.
Nice.
So we do it every morning.
And that's probably translated into a seamless, give your keys, walk, wait, get Uber to wherever, come back, car's ready.
We do that too. If you need an Uber, we take care of it.
Customer service experience is probably phenomenal.
That's
Sure.
it.
We talked about all the different manufacturers, that you have a history with or have serviced. You want to just show the viewers your manual, like MANUAL's training area?
Yeah, well, this was just a little bit of some of my stuff from school. So everything at the bottom was a lot of training from when I went to school. Everything at the top was my training. We talked earlier about when I went to college and then when I went to TurboTrack. So most of these came from my years at Porsche. All this stuff is now digital. So what you see here is probably 5% of all additional. Yes.
Sure.
So, but I like to keep things. And then I also am bad about... when I have problems, sticky notes to remind myself where to go and how I found it.
Well utilized, well worn. The hallmarks of a person who does a lot of their due diligence and research. I see you have a Pagani manual or something here.
So I do work on a Pagani, and we service it about once a year. And every time it comes in, my brain works like this. I have a problem, I solve it, I move on to the next one. And I've forgotten everything behind me. My wife hates it. So, because I can't remember anything.
Sure.
So I have to write things down. I have to make sure I notate. So as I'm working on the car, anything I do to the car, I notate and I stick it in here.
Oh, nice.
So
that just
all the way
reminds you for the next time.
Correct. I have
Yeah.
a file going just simply to do an oil change. What did I do first? What panels did I take off first? Did I what was the torque on the bolt underneath the oil filter housing? Which oil filter did I use? What issues did I find along the way? Hey, watch out for this. It's notes to my future self or the future technician working on it.
Okay, right. Makes sense.
Yep.
Well documented and probably a wealth of resource for anybody who has some concerns or questions.
Yes.
That maybe not be able to get to you right
Yeah.
away, can come and check out one of the manuals.
Yeah, I break these out often.
And very old school. I think that resonates, or hopefully will, with a lot of the viewers. Stuff that's available online and is definitely helpful, but it never hurts to get out the manual and
I like
turn the
things
pages
with- yeah.
and see it in writing on a piece of paper, in a booklet.
Yep.
However it is.
Well,
This
I have to do things, and I have to write things, and so my textbook isn't here because you get a textbook, big giant thick textbook, and then these are all the other notes and when you lab work and stuff like that.
Sure.
But in order for me to remember things, I found it because remember I said I wasn't the greatest of students, so I was like, oh, I've got to, if I'm going to be 1 out of 2 going to Porsche,
Sure.
I got to learn it. So these is me writing the textbook.
Oh, wow.
So literally just write it.
Sure.
If I wrote it, I remembered it.
Okay.
So I did that for 2 years.
Nice.
Just writing the textbook. Every chapter we went through, that night I'd study it, write it.
Sure.
And I had to do it.
Yeah. Well, obviously, again,
It's a small version of it.
no, but still, though, this is great. Okay, this is fantastic. Thank you for taking us through the classroom.
Yeah.
And we'll just finish up in the shop.
Sounds good.
So, Vinny, one of your regular customers was kind enough to share a couple of his watches for our audience. We'll
Yes.
just kind of go through these quickly.
Yeah.
Self-admittedly, this isn't one of your great areas of expertise, but certainly an area of interest.
Definitely interest and a lot of appreciation. So I can definitely appreciate the culture of watch aficionados,
Sure. So this is a Yachtmaster 2.
Okay.
This is meant for, I think Rolex manufactured it. Patrons or ambassadors. I don't know if they partnered with a racing company, with this in mind. The complications on this kind of exceed my area of expertise because I don't sail. But there's the ability to determine either like racing time as one of the complications. They have a Yachtmaster 1 as well that I don't think has some of these subdials on it. But this is a beautiful watch. A two-tone Rolliser, Rolex's proprietary name for stainless steel, and either 18 or rose gold as the interlinks. It's quite a substantive watch. What has fascinated me, and part of how this idea kind of came to be, was the movement or the engine that drives this is a masterful piece of engineering, which you can probably appreciate. Certainly quite a timepiece, a very complicated one, and one for the sailing expert, or one for somebody who maybe has some interest in exploring that area.
Yeah.
Maybe we could see you on a yacht wearing this in the near future.
Yeah. I'll come to you to tell me how to work it though.
All right, there you go. And then the other really exceptional, exquisite piece we have here is the Sky Dweller, which is also one of Rolex's most complicated pieces. This is really, really impressive. So it's got the dual time zone subdial, which requires rotating the bezel to set. I think the crown gets pulled, that gets rotated. I think it moves that complication. It's got a date complication as well. This is 18 or 24 karat. I don't know specifically, but it's very substantive. Does your client wear these often?
I think he does.
Yeah.
He's got quite a collection.
So I don't know if one of his cars is here, but is he a brand specific guy in the automotive space as well?
Not necessarily, but he is definitely buying certain vehicles at this time, like this 928 that's behind me up on the left.
Oh, nice.
So he's got quite a few mid 80s cars that he has right now and he likes to buy low mileage but drivers. So
right.
we're not talking like delivery miles or anything
Sure.
like that. He's got a Volkswagen Rabbit Cabriolet, like you've probably seen in the movie License to Drive.
Sure.
Red car, white top, white seats, less than 10,000 miles on it. It's a time capsule. So I could see him wearing that, you know, with the top down.
Sure. That's funny. Yeah, no, this is a great watch as well. You know, again, like I feel like this is one of Rolex's really well engineered, you know, precise, complicated pieces. And you don't see a lot of these that are, you know, solid gold, very substantive watch.
Oh, it's got some weight.
Yeah, and you know, Rolex from the you know, the horologic space, you know, one of their very popular popular models, excuse me, that we've had on the show previously is their Daytona, which speaks to their racing heritage. You know, and like you said, your client is a big Porsche guy, or you know, may have been. But yeah, please pass on our thanks to him for allowing us to show some of his watches on the podcast.
And if we ever need any more, we can definitely do some more.
No, that's great. Okay, we'll just go around the showroom now.
Sure. Our customer lounge. This was just built recently, so this will be painted soon. And Amanda lost her puppy not long ago, so this is going to be. I got a neon sign. It's Foxy's Cafe, and pictures of the pup. So try to keep it nice and comfortable in here. Going to redo it lightly in there. 2 service advisor offices. Pretty soon we'll be. I don't want public knowing this yet again, because some of the stuff on here, internal knowledge. But this is Sarah's office. Told you she's a car chick. This was my office. Kim now is in here. We keep all our customer files. So I had one little half when I started. And once a year, we will purge cars we haven't seen in 3 years. So I'm still growing it. So every technician gets the paperwork and the folder, all the history on the car. So they'll get a folder and they can look back at all. I like notes. And look back at all the notes. In here, when you get in to when a car leaves. So it is where all the keys go and everything. Big break room. Our parts room is twice as big now. These are our fast movers. So anything that's going to be your quick stuff, we have oil filters and pollen filters and air filters for all the cars we make, including some of the exotic stuff, Ferraris, McLarens. Got Pagani stuff here too, just sitting here in case Dan calls me. When can you get me in? Next week? No, come in right now. In here is more of a holding room. This is kind of cool. We showed up one day and somebody gave us a Walmart shopping basket. It was just sitting out on the grass. I was like, okay, well, we can use it. So we use that. But some fluids and things and long-term parts. And so it goes in stages.
Oh, wow.
And it'll be on whoever's shelf it's for. Went from 1 stall when I started out, now we got 13. And I got the 2 next door, and I'll probably have a 3rd next door soon. We've got the same equipment for tires that the dealers use. These are the top of the line, best ones they make. Same goes for the alignment machine. We just got that last year. And at the same time, we put AC in. So AC, and it's heated as well. And that's really nice in the winter. It's unbelievable how annoying it is to work on a freezing cold car. So each technician has 2 bays back to front. This is a long-term bay in the front. This is a short-term bay. So when they've got a big transmission out where you're going to kill a stall for a long time, It'll go in the front, and then that way, hey, can you do a quick brake job? Can you look at this car? Can you do this? Can you do that? It can go in the back. So there's constantly, so you got about 80% of the work gets done out of here. 80% of the profit, and about 20% of the profit.
Nice. How's the i8?
That's one we just worked on. I don't know if I'll take much of them in because
I thought it was electric.
It's a hybrid. So it's a 3-cylinder turbocharged engine that is also found in a Mini Cooper, and it's got an electric motor up front. We needed to do a AC compressor on this, and ACs on hybrids are high voltage, so they're not run by engines. So this one cratered, put a bunch of metal in the system, so we had to flush out the system.
I got it.
So we work on hybrids as well. There's a lot of hybrids out now because even stuff like Range Rovers you wouldn't think are a hybrid. They got 48-volt systems, so they're mild hybrids.
Are those as notoriously problematic?
Engines, I've got a Lamborghini V10 engine back there, a couple Audi motors.
Well, Vinny, again, we can't thank you enough. It's been a real pleasure, kind of getting reacquainted, highlighting your business, and taking a tour of your amazing shop. I just want to remind you of a quote. As you can see, we have set in place all the pieces to have a high-level automotive shop working on high-end and exotic vehicles that has not been seen in our area. Friendly faces and knowledgeable staff are not just buzzwords, they are actualities. What we do is not just a job, it's our lifestyle and our calling. We welcome you to to stop by, experience our newest 14,000 square foot facility, and meet our staff. We are a small shop doing big things for our local car market. We hope to earn your business as well. What do those words mean to you?
Hearing them read back to me, it's a little different because when you write something like that, you're thinking down the road, and when you, in retrospect, I'm like, that was good. That's exactly what I want to hear from myself, obviously, 2 years later after I wrote that.
That's fantastic. Well, certainly based on our conversation, we can see very much that you meant this. Mm-hmm. It seems like the Baton Rouge and New Orleans market is tremendously appreciative for your expertise, and it seems like life's calling for something that we're also very passionate about. And here at Cars and Crowns, we wish you an ongoing upward journey, and can't wait to have you back on for the next episode.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to any and all things. Appreciate it.
You got them, man.
All right.
Great.